Yo, what is up guys? It is esports content entertainment coming at you guys with another video here today. And in today's video, we are going to be talking about 100 Thieves. So normally I would be reading this type of post from LEC Wulo's Twitter account, but he actually made a brand new Instagram account that I followed, and his first posts were about 100 Thieves, whom we are talking about in this video. And the next video I will be making will be about his other post, which is talking about Team Liquid. So 100 Thieves had an interesting year, to say the least. I mean, they finished, second place for both of the LCS splits during 2022. They finished second place in the LCS 2022 Spring Split, losing to Evil Geniuses 3-0, and they finished second place during the LCS 2022 Summer Split by losing 3-0 to Cloud9. And then they finished literally dead last in their group, going 1-5. Their only win was against Flying Oysters. And, looking at how the team played at the 2022 League of Legends World Championship, I mean, it was a pretty big no-brainer that they were going to be making, roster, decisions considering which players to really keep, because I'm going to be honest here, Abbedagge was literally running it down. If you go back and watch his gameplay, he's actually running it down even more than I was actually previously mentioning on my Cloud9 podcast and other previous videos that I've made talking about 100 Thieves and their performance at the 2022 League of Legends World Championship. Closer definitely underperformed, but he didn't perform as badly as I thought other people made it out to be, really. If 100 Thieves are going to be making roster decisions to maybe, move some players off the roster to bring some more players in actually for key positions, I would definitely think about building around Someday and Closer. I think those two were their best players all year, despite, mid to support not obviously being so good for them. I mean, FBI, he had his moments during 2022, but when it came to big matches, actually, he definitely underperformed, and definitely underperformed at the 2022 League of Legends World Championship. And if we're talking about I mean, if I was 100 Thieves, I would definitely try and pick up, Core JJ, actually, if they can, because Team Liquid might actually be retooling their roster pretty heavily when, they failed making the 2022 League of Legends World Championship after their superstar team just basically failed every single expectation that a lot of people even had for them. So this is Wulo's post right here. Sources: 100 Thieves have allowed Closer and Abbedagge to explore their options as the team considers roster alternatives. The players aren't guaranteed out of the roster as of now. So when Papa Smithy specifically said he was having intensive talks with the 100 Thieves and what he wanted from 100 Thieves, he ultimately came to this conclusion that he and 100 Thieves just really weren't seeing eye to eye anymore on what the roster was going to look like for 2023. So then you get that big post from Papa Smithy saying that he was proud of what he achieved on 100 Thieves, and then he is going to be looking for something else. Now, what also has been a huge contributing factor to 100 Thieves is actually Reaper. Now, I know they have Freeze as a coach, who I think is doing really well for them. Any team that Mithy is a part of usually falls into this really bad play style where they can't actually, overcome it nor play any different styles. I mean, if you guys look at 100 Thieves' current coaching staff, Mithy, Freeze, and Reaper, look at the teams Mithy have coached. They've always ended up getting worse and worse and worse, and they can't improve, actually, But Mithy had a lot of issues in Cloud9, last year, and it looks like on 100 Thieves, these issues are still present, personally, for me, because I still see them present in a lot of their actual macro play. Now, when it comes to just the players, right, Abbedagge, I think it's one of these things where you could see him still performing very well for LCS standards, but I would just personally move on from him at this point. I think he played so bad. It's literally okay, why would you really keep him? But I will say this. You could also look at it okay, he performed very badly at Worlds. We knew that was going to happen. But in the LCS, he has been at least top 4 in his position, right? There was, several weeks during the LCS 2022 spring split and the LCS 2022 summer split where, he didn't play that well, but as the splits, weeks went by, he actually ramped up. And the same thing happened with the 100 Thieves. As the weeks went by, they started ramping up more and more and more, and they started playing a whole lot better, actually. So it's one of these things where what do 100 Thieves really want? Because if any of their players go to any other team and start popping off, the players that they actually bring in this year better actually be really fucking good, because if that player on the other team pops off, you could have had that guy's performance in your team, actually. I wouldn't really get rid of Closer, all things considered, but that's just how I say. I think he is literally a top 3 jungler in the LCS. Like, I get it, at Worlds, he doesn't perform very well, but then again, most LCS teams going to Worlds are never going to perform very well, It's one of the things you got to consider, and being like, okay, what is our real goal? Are we performing at Worlds, or are we just going to do well domestically? Because 100 Thieves did well domestically with this roster, with Someday, Abbedagge, Closer, FBI, and Huhi, right? They've made 3 out of the last 4 LCS finals, actually, which is impressive in its own right. Reaper, Papa Smithy, Mithy and Freeze did a great job with the players. I think they did a really good job doing that. They even won a title, actually, which is really good, right? But the thing here is, if they're trying to maybe try out different stuff now, because they've had these players for relatively well, minus Abbedagge, because he came in that summer split, they've had Closer and FBI and Huhi for literally 2+ years at this point. Usually, when the 2-year period ends, that's when the orgs start getting rid of players, actually. I think FBI could go to literally any LCS team and pop off very well. I still believe in him. I mean, if Cloud9 want to move on from Sven, I know Huhi looks really bad right now, but in Cloud9, players tend to perform much better than they do on other orgs, actually. That wouldn't be the worst pickup. Like, having Abbedagge on the free market is not bad, actually. If they're getting rid of Abbedagge and Closer, potentially, these players will be so valuable in the LCS, actually. Don't let their Worlds performance fool you. In the LCS, orgs will definitely try and pick them up. But there has been the thing, that they have been potentially maybe trying to slash budgets, in the LCS. So it's all pretty much just what 100 Thieves really wants to do. I think 100 Thieves will actually end up looking a whole lot different, actually, going into this 2022 League of Legends offseason, because given their performances throughout the year, and given their performance at the 2022 League of Legends World Championship, I just can't see a world where they keep the same 5-man roster together, I literally just don't see it, especially given how, like, if you listen to the voice comms for 100 Thieves at the 2022 League of Legends World Championship, these players literally aren't even talking to each other anymore. I'm talking like when they're actually making basic macro decisions, they're not even really even communicating. It's like, that's bad. Their drafting was really bad. The target selection and team fights was bad. The macro was bad. The objective control was bad. The fucking laning phases were all bad. Their in-game decision making was all bad, actually. It's so crazy because FBI and Huhi went from like one of the best bot lanes in the league to arguably top 4, but not exactly bad to justify kicking them. Like, I personally think Abbedagge was the MVP of the LCS 2021 summer split, actually, over Spica. I think he has had a massive impact, on this specific organization when it comes to this League of Legends when they picked him up, because they went out and picked this guy up from the Schalke roster that almost got further in the LEC 2021 spring split playoffs, actually. So that's just my thing when it comes to 100 Thieves. If you are a 100 Thieves fan, let me know in the comment section below. What do you think about, Abbedagge and Closer potentially not being on 100 Thieves going into the LCS 2023 season, actually. So I'll see you guys later. Like, comment, and subscribe. Most of all, enjoy. I am MSK, and this is Esports Content Entertainment, your one place for esports content. Alright, guys. Deuces.